So what you see there is young woman who somewhere in the back of her mind knows she's about to die. Is this community, and let's be real here, the black community, I don't mean Charlotte, I don't mean train riders, the black community, everyone on that subway with the exception of Zarutska appears to be black. Is that community going forward? Is the discussion going to center around outrage and doing something to prevent this from ever happening again and protecting the innocent so that no one else has to go through that, like Zarutska, no one else has to witness that, and most importantly, duty. But there would be no better scenario than for us to see everyone step in and another guy get out and blow that motherfucker away. Right? Blow that motherfucker away, that piece of human shit, and stand before a judge who says, thanks for blowing that motherfucker away. Let me let you in a little secret. There are 400-something million guns in this country. If you waved a magic wand and voted tomorrow and could make it possible where no one could purchase another firearm or a round legally here in the United States, you would not be able to discern the difference in violence. Just as surely, if we didn't have that shitty and evil of a judge and a system that allows it, Zarutska could still be alive.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor as due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noah's in the gospel, bride, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever they may be. This is another lesson through the spirit. This is the video of the Jake unaliving his chick from the Ukraine. I believe this took place in Philly, if I'm not mistaken. I can't recall, but I was reading the comments and, you know, one thing about when Jake gets accused of crime, you know, there's no remorse or mercy. And it's just, you know, we got to unalive these niggas, which, you know, they're not in the wrong spirit because Jake is totally cutting up. But then, you know, when it comes to school shooters and such and such, you know, there's always an excuse there, which there's no excuse in both cases. But you Jakes are the face of terror now, all right? And I'm noticing it comes right in time that you had this so-called attack out there in Israel or in Jerusalem that allegedly 2 men from West Gaza opened up fire, killing 6 people. I believe it was like at a bus station or a bus stop or something like that. And which gives, you know, the what do you call it, the IDF and the Israeli military or the police force to go ahead and declare full war on the Gazans, man, you know, which Esau does things out of his chaos. It's called order of chaos, order out of chaos. Now, this situation, it makes a lot of sense because now that Trump is cracking down on federal crime in different cities like Chicago, D.C., soon to be Baltimore, New York, Cali, etc. This seems to come at a perfect time, man. Okay, and I'm starting to believe that Esau is setting up agent provocateurs to get things set up and on, you know, because I'm not saying that this was a agent provocateur type ordeal because, you know, apparently it was an isolated incident, but nonetheless, these things seem to be too convenient for what Trump is trying to do. And ultimately, it's to make you Jakes the new face of terror because, you know, that's what they want to do. Okay, before it's said and done, this system is going to basically blame Jake for the fall and collapse. They're going to blame you for the crime. They're going to blame you for the violent crime. They're going to blame you for the vandalism. They're going to blame you for the theft. They're going to blame you for murders. They're going to basically, Jake is the new face of terror. All right. And this look like the typical nigga you see walking down the street in the hood or at your local liquor store somewhere. But it says, according to the reports, Carlos DeJuan Brown, which he had an extensive criminal record. All right. And you know they're going to make a big deal because this is a Edomite. This is a pasty Edomite woman here. So they ain't going to live this down. Okay. No matter what happened to George Floyd and Sandra Bland's and Michael Brown's and Tamir Rice's and all our people that get unalived unjustly by the so-called white man every day, this will stick around because the fact is a so-called black man and a so-called white woman. All right. But it says has been federally charged for the fatal stabbing Ukrainian refugee Arner Zarutska on a Charlotte. Okay, they was in Charlotte, not Philly, Salakia, on a Charlotte light rail, which makes it federal because federal jurisdiction do correspond with certain transportation systems, man. You know, like the Department of Transportation, which is a state agency. But even then, you have federal municipalities that obtain the jurisdictions of these particular transit ways at times. But it says Attorney General Pound Bundy, which Pound Bundy is a devil. It says caused a horrific murder and vows Brown would never see the light of day as a free man. It says the FBI Director Kash Patel calls the attack brutal and a disgraceful act, and the Bureau aiding the investigation to ensure justice is served. So they gonna make an example out this nigga, okay? Because for the simple fact, he has an extensive criminal record, and on top of that, you know, due to the no bail cash policy, they like, wait a minute, man. Like, they like, why is this guy out of jail? You know? Let me go here real quick. Let's go to the posts. I pretty much post the same thing here. They show him stabbing a young lady. She was just minding her business. He reached over, and a demon hopped on him, and a spirit hopped on him and told him to do it. And bam, that's the result of it. All right? Now peep this. His testimony that he killed her because she is white makes this a hate crime. Not a suspect, a murderer. So you see how when Jake gets the finger pointed at them, there's no mercy. And I'm not saying that he should receive mercy in this case. You know what I'm saying? But regardless of it, the spirit was on this dude to do what he did. As the scriptures say, there would be spirits created for vengeance. But, you know, I realize that you Edomites are a bunch of hypocrites. And you Jakes are a bunch of hypocrites too, because when it's said and done, you will be the face of terror. All right? Esau has done far worse than this to our people. And still to this day. You know, I'm not giving him a justification because the nigga needs to be buried under the prison. And they're talking about giving him the death penalty. And I think a life, well, they're talking about giving him a death penalty, but he's going to serve at least 25 of that. He ain't just going to go out the easy way. Okay, ain't going to be no, well, we just going to lock you up in prison, then we going to kill you. Nah, bro. You going to serve some time. They're going to make it miserable for you, and they're going to make an example out you. You know, and that's if they don't kill you before you're sentenced, man. But anyway, let's go here to the book of Psalms 50, and I'm going to start at verses, This start at verses 18. It says, when thou sawest a thief, then thou contendest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. But thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Okay, because as I mentioned, even though this nigga is not innocent, at the end of the day, the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans will be the face of danger, face of terror here in America. Okay, if you pay attention to ICE and what Tom Homan was saying, he said, look, it's going to be a possibility that we're going to grab people up that's not criminals, but we're going to detain them. So at this point, they have independent journalists, you have left-wing media and left-wing protesters, and they're going up to these so-called legal migrants and saying you're criminals, you're rapists, you're this, you're that. So the narrative have already been put out there about our people being a bunch of criminals, man. Okay, which is going to spark off the aggression towards our people, because eventually Esau is going to roll on Jake, man, and he ain't going to give a shit. But it says here, thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thy own mother's son. Okay, and that's the thing. You know, who is thy mother's son? When you go into Jacob and Esau, we were brothers, man. You know. Hold on. Yep. It says, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thy own mother's son, man. All right. Because Esau, Edom, he's been nothing but accusing us since day one. Look at your people, God. Look at your people. Your people are wicked. But yet you're creating the scenarios so Jake can be wicked, man. All right. Because Jake follows Esau's sentiment. You set up a wicked system. You take away resources. You know, you pump everybody with drugs and medications. And like I said, I'm not giving this dude a pass because Jake is wicked, man. All right. And you niggas need to be put down. But even then, there's a method to the madness. Okay. Jake is wicked. But Jake becomes wicked when they're around heathens, man, because they start living like the heathen. Revelation 11. And I'm going to start at, and in fact, no, it's Revelation 12. Is accused of thy brethren. Nope, that's Revelation 11. What the fuck is it at, man? I be looking right at it, but I don't be seeing it. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Yep. Revelation 12 and 10. It says, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come our salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. All right, and Esau is an accuser of the brethren. Like I said, I'm not giving this nigga a pass. This dude is wicked as hell. All right, he deserves exactly what's coming to him because, Jake should know better. The prophets are out here, through the spirit. Empower Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. We've brought out the lessons. We've shown Jake the way on how to serve Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man. And it's just like Jake didn't take heed to it. So now, this is the result of it. Okay, peep this. I got that white girl. So clearly, this nigga was on one. You got this Muppet, Anton Daniels, which I don't really care too much about him. I don't really care too much about him, because he's clearly a delusional. Nigga's delusional. But regardless of it, he has some interesting points, which he get from us, by the way. And he makes some interesting points and some valid points about niggas, but he seems to think that Trump can do nothing wrong. So peep this. Niggas did this. Peep
We're
this.
also following breaking news on the south side. Chicago police say a 70-year-old man has died after he was pushed to the ground and beaten by someone at a bus stop. This happened in the Washington Heights neighborhood last night at 9:15. That's right around Halsted and 95th.
Oh, man, that's the spirit. Halsted and 95th. I know exactly what is that. Elder Uriah used to prophesy right there. That's right across the street from the Hudson Library. He prophesied over there. Right across the street from the library. We got videos that we did the work right here.
We're also following breaking news on the south side. Chicago police say a 70-year-old man has died after he was pushed to the ground and beaten by someone at a bus stop. This happened in the Washington Heights neighborhood last night at 9:15. That's right around Halsted and 95th. You can see shattered glass on the ground and what appears to be a baseball hat. Police say whoever did.
Yo, I was recently reached out to by several different people on multiple different platforms, including YouTube and my comments, also email and my DMs on Instagram. I don't check anything on TikTok, so that's not even a factor. And you know what they were telling me? It was from people in Chicago that were telling me that I no longer had a pass to have a conversation about the crime that was being committed in the city. Meanwhile, you got a 70-year-old that just died at a bus stop, and they killed him in cold blood, and nobody is tripping about it. Nobody making a big deal about it. You don't see anybody holding the mayor accountable. You don't see anybody trying to stop the crime in Chicago. And so it got me to thinking, not about whether or not I was going to stop saying whatever it is that I was going to say, but it got me to thinking about whether our priorities is really to stop the crime on a ground level, because I understand that the politicians is monetizing the crime in order to get more money from the federal government and to stay in power. But I also am trying to figure out, why is it that you guys have no smoke for the criminals and all of the smoke goes to the people that are exposing the problem that then would invite the federal government in to try to stop the crime in the first place? Interesting.
A woman is dead, another behind bars after shooting Chicago's South Loop this morning.
WGN's Courtney Spinelli joins us live with more on this shooting near a school. Courtney.
Yeah, good evening to you both. Grieving family members and friends of the 31-year-old victim tell me she had just dropped her son off at school this morning when she was shot.
And it was niggas that did this, and I'm going to say that on 95th and Halsted, there ain't no Edomites over there. Ain't nothing but niggas. All right, niggas and bums and crackheads and shit. That place has gone down dramatically. All right, that's down the street from what they call Princeton Park Homes, which is basically a housing project in Chicago where a bunch of niggas congregate. So, niggas did this. This is why you niggas got to be put down like the animals you are. And we don't feel no type of way when the Most High is ready to kill you Jakes, because you Jakes are wicked, man. All right, you wicked, and you need judgment, and you're going to get exactly that. So this is the book of 2 Esdras 9. And I'm going to start at 22. It says, let the multitude perish then that was born in vain. Let my grape be kept and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect. Okay, the multitude that perish in vain is you wicked ass jakes, man, and you people, you know? And that's just the reality of it, man. You people getting ready to see the wrath of the Heavenly Father.
Shot and killed. Now the woman who allegedly pulled the trigger is in police custody tonight.
It's so sad you can't even just think straight.
Not long after the bell rang at this elementary school Monday morning, gunshots rang out nearby, leaving a young boy without his mom.
I mean, what do you tell a kid? When you just drop me off, how do you just say she's not here anymore?
Oh, don't worry about it, because everybody in Chicago believes that we're not supposed to bring visibility to the issue. Not at all. Listen, don't come here, don't stop crime, don't even be a preventative measure against crime, don't invite the National Guard, don't invite the president, don't try to stop people from killing each other. And this is just normal. And it usually is happening amongst people that look like me, which shows me that truly amongst politicians and leaders that Black lives really never mattered in the first place. At least that's my impression of it. But
Yeah. The violence towards thy brother, man. That's in the law. That's definitely in this, where we at? It's the book of Hosea 4:1. It says, hear the word of Yahweh, ye children of Israel. For the Most High have a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there's no truth, no mercy, nor knowledge, or the Most High in the land. Yeah, Jake don't have mercy on one another, man. Okay, they said that the average so-called black man will 9 times out of 10 die at the hands of another so-called black man because of them curses. You know, one altercation can lead to a fatal incident. You walk past a Jake and you just look at him off observation, you know, to see who you're looking at. And that shit can turn deadly quick, you know, because tempers flare up. And niggas just devils, bro. Niggas are evil and wicked. It says, by swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out in blood, touch your blood. Okay, blood, touch your blood. That's why there's a bunch of gang violence and a bunch of wickedness going on among these niggas, man. This is why the best thing the Most High can do is wipe you niggas out ASAP. All right, and the Most High gonna let the prophets get their hands on you wicked niggas too in due time, and that's gonna be a whole nother level right there. And hey, guess what? The men of the Lord are definitely looking forward to it. But this is the book of Isaiah 19, and I ended after this 19:6. It says, in that day Egypt should be like unto women, and it should be afraid and feared because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he's shaken over. Yeah, there's a spirit of perverseness that has gone out through America, man. And the average so-called black man is looked at as the face of terror because of a handful of niggas that's doing wickedness, man. So if I go into a store and I may have like on a hoodie or something like that because of the weather, I'm already profiled because of what another Jake did, man. So I already got a target on my back just because I look like these clowns, man. Same thing for you brothers. This is why we got to be extra circumspect. You know, don't be going nowhere, starting no trouble, man. You know, don't be having no staring contests, but at the same time, don't let nobody back you down and walk you down either. You know, shit getting too hostile, man. You know what? Just get the hell up out of there. Let some nigga run up on you, do what you got to do. But we coming into the time now, Satan is going to try to give brothers off this square to get us to get carnal so we can get, you know, ultimately, you know, we can end up in a slammer, end up in jail or fucking in the spirit world dealing with these. Because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a nigga that's going to try you. All right, Esau, he's subtle with what he does. Jake, they just don't give a shit because ultimately there's no repercussion for Jake's killing Jakes. Okay, they have no fear of one another. But when it comes to Esau, oh, they're running all day. That's why you YNs in Chicago, Esau ain't worried about y'all. He know how y'all operate. He's watched you. He's bred you niggas in a laboratory. He know how you operate, man. But it says, in the land of Judah should be a terror unto Egypt, and everyone that make it mention there should be afraid in himself because of the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he determined against it. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to end it. Giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai. Lord's will you were edified. To the next lesson. Shalom. Fair use, by the way.
Yeah, you can't really debate this anymore.